I didn't expect to go first. Your Excellency, President Mbeki, Ambassador to China, all protocols observed. They gave us 5 minutes to speak about a legacy of a great man that has fundamentally changed my life. 360 degrees, those that are willing to sign up. It's a lovely ride, but it changes your mind. And you cannot make a decision the way you normally would after being in a TMALI class. It's almost like every single class you're in, a penny drops. But the penny that drops is our responsibility that lies within us to take the continent further. With that said, I do have a couple of pictures that I'd like to show. And I believe that our technicians are doing a very good job at keeping up with the 5 minutes. So my name has an L and a C. So thank you. No. Yes. So my truth before TMALI started off as I was a corporate junkie. I did my master's in international business, and I had assumed that I was going to make chairperson of a company called Accenture, which is one of the top 10 management consulting firms in the world. In between my Accenture journey, I then had the infamous corporate burnout, and I ended up becoming a vegetable. So at some point, I couldn't use my hands or my feet. And at that point, I said, if I am like this because of working hard, what is it? What kind of legacy do I want to leave for my kids? I then decided that I wanted to know who I was as an African, and that's what led me to my journey at TMALI. So in between Accenture, I then started realizing that I'm getting all these early promotions, but I'm not satisfied because now I knew all this knowledge about the continent. I then went to Deloitte with hopes that I was going to do work on the continent and use my brains to work for to advise government. I got there, and yes, I did do a bit of government advisory work, but still that passion for the continent was not satisfied. I moved to the then credible KPMG. And I got there, and during orientation, they put up this presentation that the brand at the time was worth $12 billion. Everyone in the room was so excited. I looked around, and I was sad because I knew that I didn't belong there. Needless to say, after 3 months, my work was recognized internationally. I was the new hot chick on the block, and all I wanted to do was resign. 6 months later, I left KPMG with a dream to become a Pan-African speaker, to speak about the continent, and figure out somehow how I'm going to eat. I then had to dig within myself and look towards my TMALI studies and say, who am I as an African woman? I needed to understand my heritage. For some of you, I think Prof started the story well off when you talked about queens, because I looked at queens as well, and I looked at Queen Nzinga of Angola. And this woman, for those of you that don't know, went and faced the colonial masters. They would not give her a chair when she was addressing them, and her soldiers knelt down, and she sat on them and addressed the colonial master. Her legacy is one of a strong African woman. I looked to the other queen, which is Queen Nanaya Santawa of Ghana. When men wouldn't fight, she said, the woman will go out and fight. Knowing this African heritage, I knew that I was equipped for anything that I wanted to do. I was going to speak, I was going to eat, and I was not going to fail, because I'm going to speak about my continent. I then said to myself, what else at home brings me back to what a woman can achieve and be? I looked at the not so often or ever quoted quote by Steve Biko. You know so many of them, but I'm sure many of us have not seen this one, where Steve Biko says, women must be at the forefront of nation building. I looked at this and I said, it is not about South Africa, it's about the entire continent. So why is it that women, except for this beautiful panel, are never at the forefront of nation building? And I said to myself, I am going to be that voice for Africa, and I'm going to be at the forefront of nation building. So I birthed a company, like everybody does. You go and register and you're excited and you don't know what you're doing. And I birthed a company called Afro Visionary Legacy. And that's when I started embracing my truth, the truth that I live every day. But that only happened after TMALI. this truth has taken me to a lot of African countries. I stand here and I've been to 18 African countries, most of which I'm on stage and I'm speaking or I'm working with fellow Africans. So I'm going to take you through some of my experiences. So you have to understand this is a very emotional presentation for myself because I actually tend to hide a lot of the stuff that I do. I kind of share on Facebook because, now I'm on my own and it's a way of sort of marketing your business, but most of the things that I do, I don't share publicly. So this is the first time I'm sharing most of the material. So I'm going to try not be a woman about it and break down and cry. So that's some of the children that I met. So in these pictures, it's the children that I met in Congo, where I actually walked into one of their classrooms and they were actually singing the South African national anthem. And I taught them how to do the amandla. One of the other pictures, I was actually invited to Zimbabwe to go give a speech and interact with the children. The other one where I'm holding my fist up and they're holding biscuits is in the middle of Togo. I went to Togo at an invitation to go see the former Minister of Defense, who's now in prison for treason, because I wanted to understand his story and what is going on. And I met those lovely children and I had a conversation with them. And the one down there is the one to, I don't know, left or right, but the other one down there with the gold dress is in Ghana. And I was fortunate enough last year to be called by my own school to come talk to us, to come talk to the students. And I went to the International School of South Africa, where 10% of us are South Africans. So for me, it was a 360 moment because I was able to share my passion for the continent and Africans with all these children. The next one is all the platforms that I've been on where it was youth discussions. But the one that I want to touch upon is the one where you can see the green bar on top. We don't have a pointer. And that one, there was youth from Alexander, and they had all given up on getting jobs. And I met one of them at a petrol station, and he said to me, after we heard you speak, we then got together and we went to look for a job, and there he was working in a petrol station. And he said to me that we actually understand that as Africans, we can control our own future as opposed to waiting for government. The next picture is all the platforms that I've been on where, actually some of the platforms that I've been on where it was empowering women. The one that's close to my heart is the one where I'm wearing the blue because when I was in Liberia, the women of Liberia heard that I was around, and these women came to see me asking me for solutions towards their own problems within their continent. The next one is when I was impacting on business. For me, I think out of this one, the one where I'm wearing the blue and gold was the most impactful one because I was in the UK and I attended and I was called to speak at the Congo Film Festival. And I was there advocating that Africa should unite beyond Anglophone and Francophone because everyone was so stuck in their Francophone mindset. And the next one is really, yes, you can do sports in heels, ladies. So I'm involved in an organization called Africa Football for Peace. So I led a delegation to go meet President Ware, the only footballer to become a president, and endorsed the organization. And the one in the green, I'm in the DRC playing soccer barefoot because I was wearing heels before, and just impacting the children with regards to sports. The next one, I also go to prisons. So there I was addressing 900 high maximum prisoners in Leeuwkop about their identity as Africans and how to see their lives beyond prison walls. The next one, obviously I have to eat as well. So I have to do a bit of consulting. So this is some of the consulting work that I did. The one in the blue, I'm in Tanzania, working with the community health members of Ministry of Health. And the other one where there's a bulb, where there's a, what do you call this thing, where I'm wearing the flowery dress. It was during the SADC Industrialization Week where we actually took the SADC Industrialization Strategy and broke it down with civil society. So, and that was submitted to the heads of states SADC protocol. The next one. I've been fortunate enough as I'm building this company to meet Africa's richest man. and Africa's richest woman. And for me, as I build my company, I know that it is a responsibility to build others. Because in the other photo with the young girl, there was an award that was named in the honor of my company, in the honor of me. And I had to give the young lady an award in my name. And last year, November, I got feedback that actually the young lady is now #1 in class. And she keeps talking about the conversation we had there about what it means to excel. The next one. I've told you a lot of things about myself, and I've been to so many African countries following my dream, but I cannot do it alone. And for me, spirituality is a big part of my life. And the other one on the side is when I was in Ghana at Echimota, which is a school that's produced the greatest number of presidents and diplomats for the continent. And I was praying with the teachers there. And the other one, you can't really see it, but my stiletto, my 6-inch heel is on top of a football, and I'm praying with the children of Liberia. And the gentleman wearing the Liberian flag next to me was the one leading us in prayer. So for me, I understand that in my version of my spirituality, that I believe that God leads me, and that our former generations, which are the Sankaras of this world and the Queen Nzengas of this world, will continue to guide us. The next one. I live for a united Africa that's at peace itself. I started by saying that TMALI changed my life 360 degrees, and it is what it is. And I live my life every day for the continent. So with those, that's my last words. If you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Okay,